Good morning, my dear students. Hope all of you are well. And today, again, I will continue the chapter Matter and its Composition. First, I will tell or discuss the answer of your last Google form test. Okay. So, your type of question was fill in the blanks. Your first question was the quantity of matter that a body contains is known as its dash. So your answer will be mass. The space occupied by a body is called its dash. You have to write volume. Dash usually do not have independent existence. So your answer will be atoms. Atoms usually do not have independent existence. A dash is the smallest unit of matter and has independent existence. So your answer will be molecule. A molecule is the smallest unit of matter and has independent existence. The last question was a dash molecule is made up of 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. So all of you know the answer is water. So a water molecule is made up of 2 hydrogen atoms, okay, and 1 oxygen atom. And next we will show one activity to prove that air occupies space and has a mass. Okay. So first we will take one balloon. So this is one balloon. Okay. Now whether air occupies space or not, to prove it, so we have to blow this balloon, okay, by we have to blowing air by mouth, okay, and then it will become inflated. Okay, now as the air occupies space, that is why it is inflated. Okay. Now what we will do next, we want to try to prove. Now if we just release the air, the size is decreasing. Okay. The size of the balloon slowly decreases. So definitely that air is a matter and it occupies space. So how to prove that this air occupies mass? So first we have to take one balance, okay, like beam balance, okay. Here we will use one scale and the same size of 2 balloons will be hanging the 2 sides, okay, and it should be balanced, and 2 balloons are equally inflated. Now in this case, all of you will be able to see that 2 balloons are equally inflated, okay. And inside this balloon, what is there? Air. Now, if we pierce or puncture one balloon by using a safety pin, okay, or pin, then what will happen? You observe. Wait. Now see. Here, this side is tilted. If you see it properly, okay. Now you observe it that this side is tilted. Understand? So definitely it proves that air has mass. Okay. And this side balloon has no air, okay. So if we release the air, okay, in this way, then this side, because of the air has mass, this side is tilted, okay. Now you can easily prove that air occupies space and it has mass. So air is a matter. So this activity already is discussed, okay, in your book, okay, and today I also demonstrated, okay. Next we will start the states of matter. Matter exists in the three different states: solid, liquids and gases. There will be other two states of matter that is not that in our syllabus, okay. We will discuss it later. One is plasma state, another is the Bose-Einstein condensate state. Now, in case of solid, okay, we can give the example of ice. And if we apply heat, here it is given that ice, you apply heat, then it will convert to solid state to liquid state, that is water. And again, if we apply heat to this water, then what will happen? That this water will turn into water vapor, that is steam, that will be in the gaseous state. So by applying heat energy, we can convert that solid state to liquid state to gaseous state. And any type of matter has these three type of states. Even oxygen also may be liquid oxygen. Okay, now we'll be able to see, because liquid oxygen is required for the corona patients. Okay, their amount of oxygen will be very high. Okay, and actually the temperature is very low, around minus 178 degrees centigrade, around minus 178 degrees centigrade, the oxygen will be liquid. Even if we go more lower temperature, it may be solid. So all of you know that solid carbon dioxide, that is called dry ice. Okay, so any matter, okay, will exist in the three states: ice, water and steam, depending upon the temperature. Okay, what temperature you are using. Okay, generally in room temperature, H2O is liquid, that means water liquid. But at higher temperature of 100 degrees centigrade, if we boil it, then it will become steam. And if we keep some amount of water under deep fridge, then it will become ice in solid state. Okay, so hope you can understand the three states of matter, and question will come only on these three states of matter: solid, liquid, gas, not plasma or Bose condensate state. Okay, Bose-Einstein condensate state. Now, every day, okay, we are surrounded by solid, liquids and gases. 3 parts of this world contains water. So water in the liquid state. And 1 part of this world is land. Okay, that is in the solid state. And we are surrounded by air. Okay, everywhere there is air, we are taking oxygen. Okay, so that is in the gaseous state. So what is the definition of solid? A solid has a definite shape and a definite volume. Okay, suppose this is one solid. Definitely it has definite shape. Okay, and it occupies volume. Okay, it occupies space. That is why it is called volume. Okay. Now the shape of every object is because of the solid state. If there was no solid state, so this world will not exist. Okay, matter will not exist. Okay, this in the gaseous form or in the liquid form, that is different thing. So for particular shape and particular size, okay, solid state is very much important. Now you can understand why study of solid state is so much important. And today mainly we will discuss about the solid state. Next day we will discuss the liquid and gaseous state. Now in class 12 science, okay, you will study one chapter, that is solid state of chemistry. Now in solid, the particles are closely packed, and the particles may be ions, these particles may be molecules or atoms. Here one diagram is there, I have already drawn here. Okay, so these are the solid, that is the we are showing that interparticles. So here they are very closely packed and their intermolecular space is very low. Okay, very small. Okay, there is practically no intermolecular space, very small intermolecular space is there. So here particles are very closely packed. But in case of liquid, okay, the distance between the two particles is higher compared to the solid. Okay, so here the number of particles in a particular A is less compared to the solid. or area, particular area, okay. But in gaseous states, the particles distance will be very high, okay, and the inter-particle distance is very high, and their attraction force is also very low, okay. So now from this diagram, you can easily understand the arrangement of particles, okay, of solid, liquid and gas, and here you can easily understand the packing or the rigidity of the solid because of this arrangement of this particle in solid. Okay. Now based upon this arrangement of particles, the solids can be classified as crystalline solid or amorphous solid. Generally salt, sugar, what you are observed that crystals, okay, sodium chloride crystal, sugar crystals, cube type of crystal, okay, and copper sulfate crystals, okay. But if we think about the flour, if we think about the powder, if we think about the different types of corn flour, or we can think about the besan, okay, they are generally amorphous solids, okay. So in a crystal, the arrangement of the particles is ordered, but in amorphous solid, the particles are not arranged in order. Glass, rubber, you can think about plastic, these are all amorphous solids, okay. Now in solid, there is a very strong force of attraction, okay, between the particles, okay, or we can say the molecules, okay, and this is called the intermolecular force. In case of ionic solids, the intermolecular force of attraction is highest, but in covalent solid, this attraction force is weak compared to the ionic solids, okay, but it is higher than the liquids and gases. Any type of salt, okay, generally ionic solid, like sodium chloride, potassium chloride, calcium sulfate, copper sulfate, all are ionic solids because ion is present. And in case of organic compounds like glucose, sugar, iodine, citric acid, oxalic acids, all are covalent solids, okay. Now in case of solid, the intermolecular space is almost negligible, so they are very much hard and rigid and difficult to compress, okay. So if you want to compress this solid, not possible, okay, huge amount of pressure is required, okay, that we cannot give by our hand, okay. So solids have definite mass, volume, size and shape, okay. So we can say that in solid the particles are closely packed, intermolecular force of attraction is the strongest compared to the liquids and gases, intermolecular space is least. In case of solid, they are practically incompressible, okay, not easily compressible, and they are highly rigid. Now in solid, particles are always in fixed positions, okay, because of the strong force of attraction between two particles. So solid particles are not free to move and their kinetic energy is almost negligible. In solid, particles can only vibrate about their mean position. So if you take a spring, then you can easily understand the vibration. This is called vibration, okay. So they have the vibrational energy. That is why the solid particles have vibrational energy, okay. Now we'll tell different types of solid. Suppose if you think about the iodine and ice, their molecules are present in solid, so these are called molecular solids. In case of sodium chloride, potassium chloride, magnesium oxide, calcium oxide, ions are present, they are called ionic solids. In case of metal, iron, copper, silver, gold, platinum, they are called metallic solids, okay. And in case of diamond and graphite, okay, there is a network, so these are called network solid or covalent solid, okay, covalent bond is present. Now we'll discuss about some properties of the solid. That is, the solids have melting point, like melting point of ice is 0 degree centigrade, okay, or 273 Kelvin. Now what is melting point? Melting point is the temperature at which pure solid state changes to its liquid state at atmospheric pressure. At this point, both liquid and solid phases exist at equilibrium state, okay. Now crystalline solids have sharp melting point, so they will convert from solid state to liquid state at a particular fixed temperature. This is called sharp melting point. But amorphous solids melt over a wide range of temperature. Okay, so they don't have any sharp melting points. Solids have no diffusion property and do not diffuse readily like gases. Okay, and the density of the solid is very high because of the close packing particles. Okay, close packing structure. Some solids have lusters, like metals have metallic lusters. Why? That is why we can tell that gold, platinum, silver are used as ornaments. Iodine is a non-metal, but it has luster property. That you have to keep in mind. Generally, solids are opaque and light cannot pass through it. Okay, if you think a wood block, okay, you cannot pass light through it. But if you think about the glass and diamond, okay, because of their refracting index, they are transparent. Next, we shall discuss about the solubility of the solids in water. Some solids are water soluble, like sodium chloride, potassium chloride, sodium nitrate, etc. And some are insoluble in water, like wood, paper, plastic, metal, mud, etc. Okay. Now, what is solute and solvent and solution, that you have to understand. Suppose if we take sodium chloride and if we add water, definitely we will get a mixture. Okay, and this is called homogeneous mixture. Homogeneous mixture, where only one phase is present, only one liquid phase is present. Okay, so we will get a solution. So NaCl is called solute and water is called solvent and the mixture is called solution. Generally, solvent is always in higher amount and solute is always less amount. Okay, so NaCl is the solute and water is the solvent and the mixture is called that solution. Okay, salt solution. Now, sand and water, if we add sand and water, whether we can tell sand as solute? No, it is not possible. Sand is not soluble in water. A solute is a substance, okay, that dissolves in a solvent like water. So sand is not a solute. Okay, and if you take some sand and water, that will form a heterogeneous soluble. Okay, that is not soluble. Now we have completed the discussion of the solid. Now we will ask one question: whether is sand soluble in any solvent? Can you tell me the name of the solvent of sand? That means how will you dissolve sand in a particular solution? What type of solution? Whether it is possible, okay, to dissolve sand in a particular solution? Okay, so today we will not tell the answer. You search, and in the next live class, if you ask the questions, I will tell you the answer. So today up to this, okay, please obey the COVID protocols and wear the mask. Thank you.